All right, Colts fans, we are back with another episode of Colts Fancast. I'm here with probably the person I've known the longest in Colts fandom here is Jeremey Stevenson. We go back probably to, like 2013, 2014, I think, on Twitter.
Yes, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because I want to say we were doing a bunch of mock drafts. We're big draft nuts. You've always had that thing that you've done with Colts Twitter with the going streaking list or whatever, right?
I don't even remember how that started, honestly. And now it's like I think it was about 3 years ago I started to get I'm feeling a little old. Like maybe Twitter has passed me a little bit. And so I was like, I'm not gonna do like draft content. And like the night before, it was like a flood of like, you better friggin' do the going streaking, because that's how we base all of our draft takes. So I guess when I retire, I'm gonna have to hand it off to someone, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta hand it off to some kid who can properly portray it. Was that like a reference to what's that, Old School or something?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I was gonna say, I figured like it had to be, obviously, but yeah, that's hilarious. It's always pretty accurate, honestly. From even before I covered the Colts or jumped over to watching the Colts a lot, I was always like, yeah, if Washington did the same thing, I'd probably go on streaking too. Have you ever fulfilled your promise though? Have you gone streaking?
I mean, when I was like 16, sure I did, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure my wife or my children would be too thrilled if I went out streaking.
Would the Canadian police be a fan of it either? No? Toronto police, right? Is that where you're up in Toronto?
So no, I'm in London, which is I'm about 2 hours from Toronto.
Okay.
Basically, if you draw a straight line from Detroit to Toronto, we're like dead center.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So there is actually a story where there was a big fight out in front of our house, and it was like 3 a.m, and I didn't want them to wake our kids, and it was a bunch of like kids hopped up on drugs and whatever, and so I ran out in my underwear, and like tried to break this fight up, and there's kids bloodied up and stuff like that. And I just didn't really think about it. And then we waited for the cops to show up, and I'm standing there talking to the cops in my underwear, and just like, it didn't even faze me. And my wife came out, she's like, "Do you want like a shirt or something? Like, you're a little exposed right now."
You didn't even get like the wife beater, like tank top thing or whatever, the white thing that they always have in the movies.
I cannot say that I own a wife beater in all honesty.
What's the term? I don't even know what the term is for that thing. I just know when I was a high school kid thinking like, oh, I have to have some of these, we wear these under the shirts and stuff. And then I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, you look like a tool.
Oh yeah, for sure. Not to mention we call something a wife beater, which probably
that's true. I don't even like, that's true. I don't even know the actual name for it because it's always been called that. I don't know.
So I've worn a tank top, which it would actually be like once in my entire life, and it was because I was going to get a tattoo, and so I needed something a little more revealing, for lack of a better term. And like I literally sat there with my tattoo artist, and I was like, this is the last time I will ever wear a tank top for the rest of my life.
Even where'd you get the tattoo? Like on your arm or something? Or
yeah, I've got one here.
Oh, dude. So I'm gonna be so I get my tattoo at the end of the month, my first one. I'm gonna be so pretentious. Okay. I'm gonna wear a tattoo, or I'm gonna wear like a cutoff shirt all the time, just so I could show off the tattoo.
Yeah,
super
100%.
Pretentious. That's what I'm gonna be going for.
So the worst for me right now is it's a pretty big one. It'll cover my whole arm, but I've only done one session, so it's like just the outline of the tattoo. So it looks super lame right now.
Okay, so you can't wear the tank top or anything yet.
Right, but I'll be in my family's headed to Florida on Monday.
There you go.
So like I'll be rocking like hoodies to try and cover my arm in Florida weather.
Well, it shouldn't be too bad now. Shouldn't be too bad.
I mean, for a Canadian,
that's true.
That weather's still hot.
That's true.
We had snow the other day, so.
Oh gosh, I'm dreading the snow coming here to Virginia here soon.
Yeah.
We got our first comment here. We got Philippe here, one of our good friends from Twitter. Philippe, I'm gonna have you on the show if your internet is good. Yeah, I want to have you on the show. Like, it'll be a blast, and you're gonna give me more cooking tips. You're like my wife's favorite Colts person because of the cooking tips that you gave us.
And where is Philippe? I saw that he was saying that it was super late where he is. I don't actually know where he lives.
I believe it's Philippe, I might be awful here, but I think it's Brazil. I think it's
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I believe it's
Nice.
Brazil. You can comment if I'm way off there, Philippe. But as always,
they'll be
buddy,
like,
I
I'm in
appreciate
Alaska.
it. Yeah. Oh, and we got Kyle Raposo on here too. Good snow on Sunday. No, they're going to open the roof. They're going to open it like they always do.
Oh, they better not. Like this might get me kicked out, but I hate that window. Like on TV, that sunlight line is absolutely horrible.
However bad you think it is on TV, it's worse on all 22. It's so much
Oh
worse.
yeah, for sure.
It is like it's Chicago Soldier Field, like all 22 bad. Like you cannot see half the field on all 22 because of that. And we've seen drops all the time from the players because they can't see in that bright.
Of course.
Oh, it's awful. I hate it. And then Philippe, yeah, it's Brazil that he's from.
There we go.
Yep. Philippe, if your internet's good, and probably if my internet's good, my internet sucks too sometimes. So it's all good. We will have you on Fancast as well. Be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
But before we jump into more Colts conversation, Jeremey sent me a list of things that are good to talk about on here, his expertise, things that he knows a lot of. So I just want to let you guys know what some of the things on this list are. He's got the 1993 Blue Jays, which I think is very valuable to a Colts Fancast episode. I think that's
100%.
Super.
Especially because most of them weren't even alive in 1993. So
I wasn't alive in 1993.
There you go.
My mom was.
Now you're making me feel old.
You want to hear how awful it is? My mom, I think, was probably about to go into high school, maybe just in high school. Yeah. Right on there.
Yeah, I feel old now. Thanks for that.
You got to get the drinks going there. We got good restaurants. So I think that's always a positive. We can tell the people here 100%. About good restaurants. How to make perfect Mr. Noodles. How do you make perfect Mr. Noodles?
All right. So the secret, you got to boil your water to 100 degrees first. And then you put it on the noodles. But then you put it immediately into the microwave. 30 seconds. Then flip the pack of noodles that's in there. 30 more seconds.
Okay.
And then drain the excess water. And you will have perfect Mr. Noodles. Okay,
perfect. Because as someone who does not have a lot of money, I think this is perfect information for me. I needed that.
It's important.
How much Lego my son has? How much is a lot of Lego?
Yeah, so we used to buy like the boxes of Lego. So you'd get like a spaceship and 2 guys. Mm-hmm. But you go broke because he wants 100 characters. So you got to buy 100 boxes. So we started finding these things in Asia where you could buy like 50 characters for like $60.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
So he has every Marvel character, every 400 Batmans, 300 Frozen characters. He's big on Frozen.
Okay.
So we've got a good 1,000 Lego characters laying around the house right now.
Hell yeah. I think I was a similar way when I was a kid, except it was not that expensive as it is now too. So
yeah,
it's kind
of course they didn't have all these characters now.
Yeah, no, I think I was talking with someone today at work where it's like they have like Frozen and Star Wars have jumped into the Lego game. So now everything is just so expensive and so much. It's crazy.
Like online you can find like a Donald Trump Lego guy.
Did you get your kid that one?
No, I didn't. He wouldn't. Thankfully, he wouldn't know who that is.
And then we got my last section, which is my personal favorite. As you guys can see, I have my Bayside sweatshirt. I wear this for a lot of my streams. We got 2000s pop punk. I think that's my favorite one because I'm a big pop punk guy. I'm a big like punk guy or whatever. So I need to ask you, who are your 5 favorite pop punk bands or artists? You don't have to like think too hard, just the first 5 that kind of come to mind that you enjoy listening to.
So I grew up in a super Christian home. So like, until I was like 13 or 14, like Creed was about as wild as we could get. So I grew up a diehard Relient K fan.
Yeah, everyone, man, I get it.
Yeah, but they do make such great music.
They do.
Right after that, I would go MXPX. So that's actually the first CD I ever owned was an MXPX CD. So
Okay.
that holds a dear place.
Was that the Ever Passing Moment one, probably, for the one that came out in 2000?
No, mine was Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it was like when CDs were like first being made. Again, going back to how old I am. Maybe not popular, but I was a huge Fall Out Boy fan in their prime.
Oh, dude, their first 4 albums were elite. Just absolute bangers.
And my wife was always a big music fan, so like most of our dating era was going to concerts.
Yeah,
so
I remember you posted a while back that you went to a ton of like punk pop and stuff, like concerts, and I was so jealous, man, because I know, like you said, you're kind of close to Toronto. Toronto was kind of like a hot spot for a lot of these guys.
Oh yeah, they had a lot of like middle-sized like theaters that you could go see these bands in, so that was always fun.
Yeah, we got a lot of people here excited about your pop punk taste. I think this is what the whole show should be about.
Some Relient K fans, that's awesome,
dude. I'll tell you this, and before you continue, but my all-time favorite song is from Relient K. It's Who I Am Hates Who I've Been. My all-time favorite. I listen to like metalcore and stuff now, like heavier stuff. That's still my all-time favorite song. Love that song.
Yeah, that's a great one. We haven't even tapped into how nerdy I am about music. So I have on Apple Music, I have 6 playlists, which each have 100 songs in them, and they combine for my 600 favorite songs in the world.
And you have a 600 song list?
Yeah, and I literally, I bet you I spent like a year building these playlists.
Okay, but I'm kind of with you, because this year I have ranked my top like 120 albums that come out just this year.
Ooh.
So
just this year.
So here's the reason, and this is how nerd out I've gone. I am a big pop punk and emo fan, right? Bayside's my all-time favorite band. Love Sum 41 from back in the day, like all those kind of guys, right? But I realized earlier this year, because one of my new favorite bands is Ice Nine Kills, a metalcore band. And they had a new album come out this year, and I realized back in like June when they announced it, I was like, I have no bands I like that are in their prime. 0, besides Ice Nine Kills.
It's true.
And I was bummed because I want to go to more concerts. So I was like, I'm just going to listen to everything that comes out in like metalcore, metal, pop punk. And there's some pretty good releases. So I've gone a little too far with it, but 600, that's insane. 600 songs.
Yeah. That's nerdy.
Yeah.
So that's 3. 4, I'm going to go Yellow Card.
Oh yeah. Great.
Like, just like perfect. The violin in Yellow Card is just like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
5. I mean, there's so many. That's the problem.
You want to hear the best random fact about Yellow Card?
Yes, I'm ready.
Ocean Avenue is not a real place. Like, he just completely made that up for that song.
But since then, there actually is a street called Ocean Avenue.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah. When it first came out, he just was like, it was like Ocean Street or something. And he changed it to Avenue because it rhymed better, is what he said.
Yeah. Where I used to sit and talk with you. So obviously you got to make it rhyme.
And the song's not about a girl either. It's about leaving his friends and family to go out west.
Which is weird because the real Oceans Avenue is actually out west. So
so it made sense. It worked. But my shameless plug for my favorite podcast by the Less Than Jake like lead singer, whatever it's called, like Kristen makes a podcast. They break down pop punk songs and stuff. It's amazing. You guys got to check it out if you love pop punk.
There we go. And number 5, I'm gonna go Taking Back Sunday.
Oh, the emo. I don't know.
I don't know if we count. I don't know if that's pop punk, but they're in there.
We got Robert saying he feels disconnected. Grant's asking a bunch of questions in here. I have not checked out Your Best Friend yet, Grant, but I definitely have it on my list. I've got a couple. I got like 4 or 5 guys that are recommending music to me all at once. I got Jake, who I had on last week. I have one of my best friends. I have a couple podcasts, so I have so many just things coming in. So, but yes, Your Best Friend is on my list.
Grant just wants you to listen to the angriest music you can possibly find because he finds it soothing.
Well, he said last week or whatever, and I know we've gone almost 20 minutes here without talking Colts, but
sorry,
we're good. We're good, but no, he said last week or whatever to I think Brent, fan of Nuance, that like he likes listening to the really heavy stuff or whatever like that, and it's and I agree. So I've dabbled dipped my toes a little bit in some like metal and stuff like that. Yeah, here's Jake right here, death metal and all that stuff. I've gotten there. I'm getting a little close. I'm not there yet. I'm not fully there yet, but I do appreciate some of those things.
I feel like pre-kids, I was totally into it, but I can't play it in the house now.
Mm-hmm.
It just, they don't understand it. They don't like, why is he so angry?
Yeah, I get it, but I'm definitely appreciate it. I think it's fun. Music taste. Yeah, we got a lot of people who don't, who either really like the music, because we got people just throwing different songs in here. We got Tyler saying he loves, I think that was about the Reliant K song. We got some fire.
It's the age gap being revealed right here.
It is.
Like if you're in the 80s, early 90s, you're like, yeah, totally get it. But if you're older than that or younger than that, they're probably out.
I'm actually shocked you didn't say some of those Canadian ones, like who's from up there? Silverstein's from Toronto, I think.
Yeah.
And then Simple Plan's obviously like the face of it. But were they a little too whiny for you?
I never got into them too much. I don't know. Maybe it was just the French part of them. I was out on that.
That's true. They always seemed like they were the thing that got me into pop punk. And then my buddy once pointed out to me being like, oh, they're like popular kids that are just like crying about everything. And then I listened to him again. I was like, damn it.
But isn't that what we all wanted? Is someone crying about something? Like probably my all-time favorite at that time was Dashboard Confessional. Like I was like a hopeless romantic / saddest kid in the world.
Yeah.
So the sad songs were always great.
I will say, Matt, funniest thing about that song, Untitled by Simple Plan, and this will definitely make me seem a lot younger than what what we were trying to go for. But the reason I got into pop punk, so I grew up in a Christian conservative home, so country music all the time, right? That's all we listened to. I occasionally got into some 80s stuff, but mostly country. I was getting my permit and I had to go in front of a judge with a bunch of other kids or whatever, like when I was getting my license, and they were like, okay, we need to play this thing for you guys before you get your license. And I was like, all right, whatever. I thought it was going to be some instructional video. They put on Untitled by Simple Plan, the music video for it, about how like a car crash can ruin everyone's life or something. Yeah. And everyone in there is like, my mom's like tearing up a little bit. Other people are like, oh yeah, like this is all about drunk driving. I'm like, holy shit, this song's awesome. So I go
play
home,
it again.
I Google Simple Plan. I get into Bowling for Soup, Sum 41. I was like, dude, this is the best thing that came out of that. And then, but yeah, Untitled I think is a great song. But I just thought it was hilarious that the reason I got into this is because of a judge thought it was the best thing to play.
There you go.
Good Charlotte. Yeah, Good Charlotte was good at their peak too. It sucks. It's kind of like a dead genre right now, but
yeah, it really is.
I will say there was a new one that came out, and then we'll get into Colts talk after this. But this band Save Face sounds like old My Chemical Romance, and I am loving every second of it because at the end of the month, my first tattoo is going to be like the little Black Parade guy from MCR right on my upper arm here.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for that. But
just so that when you're 50 and 60, it'll completely date you. Like everyone will know.
Oh yeah. It's
exactly how old you are.
It's like cool enough where I could pass it off as being like, oh yeah, it's just a little skeleton guy on my arm. But like, it's still like, it's something that everyone says I'm going to regret it. But I'm like, I know. It's what I'm doing. It's exactly what I'm doing.
Whatever. I got a tattoo the day I was 18. No regrets.
Yeah, no regrets. All right, let's get into some Colts talk, guys. And I do love all this pop punk stuff. Yeah, Wonder Years is great. Flyleaf, my wife loves Flyleaf.
Flyleaf, that's a throwback.
Yeah. Those are some good ones. We'll do a whole show just on pop punk one of these days.
Yeah,
guys.
We're just gonna start our own podcast.
We'll do all just like the throwback podcast. We just talk about pop punk.
It's just gonna be my top 600 songs. That's it. We're just gonna go through the whole list
one by one.
One by one, and we'll grade them. Everyone can give their opinion and what the song meant to them.
We don't actually listen to the song. We just have you hum it because we can't play the song or we'll get like copyrighted. So we'll.
I'll play it in my headphones and then just kind of vibe to it, and then everyone else just gives.
Oh god, it's like a reaction video, but you just react to our reaction of the song.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. But getting into some Colts stuff. So you're from London, Canada. Are you from there, or you just live there now?
Born and raised.
Okay, so everyone probably from your area, if they're going to root for an NFL team, it's probably going to be the Bills, I would assume, because it's kind of close.
Bills or Patriots?
Patriots, yeah, because
Lots
they were
of Patriots.
Yeah. So
because they were winning when it was on TV.
So I'm curious how you got into the Colts. I mean, was it all Peyton Manning? Was there something else there? Like, how did you become a Colts fan?
It was a lot of Peyton Manning. As many people will see from my account, I'm just a nerd, like self-professed nerd. I love nerdy stuff. And watching Peyton Manning at the line of scrimmage pre-snap, I was just like, I get this. Like, I understand what he's seeing, something that nobody else on the field is seeing. And so I just started watching Colts games just to watch him work at the line of scrimmage. And then just started learning like how they would give him multiple plays to take into the huddle, and that he'd kind of decide from there. And I mean, it didn't hurt that he was winning 12, 13 games a year, of course. But so NFL really wasn't on mainstream Canadian television until like early to mid 2000s. So we saw a whole lot of Brady, a whole lot of Manning, a whole lot of Eli. And so I just kind of got on. I kind of loved the idea of Indianapolis. Like, it wasn't, one of the hot states. Like, it wasn't an LA team or a New York team. I didn't even know where Indianapolis was at the time.
Yeah.
So I just became a fan, and then they, a couple horrible playoff losses that I started caring about, and I was like, I think I'm a fan. Like, I think I'm in on this. And a good friend of mine became like a diehard fan as well, and like we'd throw huge parties for the playoff games and stuff like that. And then when they won the Super Bowl, like, that was it. We were like completely sold, like buying all the merch, throwing parties. So that was the football side of things. And then it was actually 2011 when he got hurt that I was like, now I need to be into draft stuff. Like, I think this era is over. Like, they have no good players left. This is the worst team in football. Like, I need to learn stuff about the draft.
Yeah.
So like Luck and Fleener, like, I was all in.
Yeah. So was that the birth of kind of the My Colts account that we see now, like where you kind of gained a pretty good following, and as someone who I covered Washington when I first, came across your account, but I was like, oh man, this is a pretty big account that follows me. I mean, given it was like 5,000 or so, but that's,
sure. Yeah.
It's pretty solid, don't get me wrong. So is that kind of where the My Colts account kind of brand started, kind of gave way there?
So I was on Twitter. I mean, Twitter was a lot bigger at the time, because that would have been 2012. I think I launched it. I should probably know these things, but I think it was 2012. I think like week 1 of 2012, I launched it.
Okay.
So I had my own personal Twitter account, and I would post stuff about the Colts, but like none of my friends gave a crap about the Colts, let alone football. And so like I would kind of like post these, stats or whatever, and I was like, nobody cares. And I was like, I need an account about the Colts, and I was like, I need a Colts account. So then I was like, I'm just going to call it My Colts account, because that's exactly what it is. It's not my personal account; it's my Colts account.
Yeah. And
I think the first thing I ever tweeted, other than I made this account because none of my friends gave a crap, was that it was something like, it was Peyton Manning's first game in Denver. I think he threw 5 or 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think he actually threw 7 that first game. I think
was it 7?
I think he tied the record his first game.
That's right.
Yeah, and it was at like a it was like a Sunday night or Monday night game or something against like the Ravens, I think. Man, I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, that sounds right. And so I had tweeted something like, Peyton Manning has thrown more touchdowns in the last hour and 45 minutes than Mark Sanchez has in the last year and a half or something like that. And like it got, I don't know, it got a few likes, and I was like, oh, this is like kind of fun, like interacting with Colts fans. And then it just kind of picked up steam over time, and nobody knew who I was at the time, so that was kind of a thing. Like, who's this random person that's tweeting all these random stats and stuff like that? So yeah, it's fun.
Do you ever get
And
connected
like
to Brad Wells too? Like a lot of all these random accounts get called Brad Wells. Anyone think you were Brad Wells?
No one ever thought I was Brad Wells because I always went at Brad Wells.
Oh, okay.
So like I was blocked by Wells like very early on. I called him out on something stupid. Like just, I think he was retweeting other people's posts without adding anything to it, basically just to get credit for someone else's tweet.
There's a couple that still do that now, but I'm not going to throw
fire. Oh, 100%. I've probably done it a bunch of times. And so I said something to him about it, and then he blocked me. And then it was like I was the Brad Wells hate account, basically.
And now everyone's the Brad Wells hate account. I mean, again, look, we were saying beforehand, like, I hope he's okay. Like, I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, he disappeared. He was done. Which maybe I should have done a while ago. But it's ironic because if I recall, Brad is in Canada as well. I think he's out in Vancouver. So you think we'd get along as two, polite Canadians, but we really don't.
Is Brady the new Brad? Brady Spiegel. We're not going to talk about Brady Spiegel. How dare you? My jokes are my own. Yeah, Jake, you're the one who steals content from everybody, is what it is.
There we go.
There we go.
I'll call him out next.
So you got to the point where my Colts account was someone that people look to for draft stuff and Colts news and stuff like that. And dude, I'll tell you, man, I remember when I first started getting followers and stuff, like the dopamine hit when you get a bunch of tweets, like retweets and likes and stuff like that. Like early on, it's like, oh shit, people actually like what I say.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to the point where you're like, I hate Twitter though? Like just like the screw this kind of thing? Or
every day of my life.
Every day?
No, not at all. So when I started, honestly, anytime I had a tweet that would get 100 likes, I would personally like it myself, like as like a trophy on my wall. Like
just so you go back to it and stuff too.
I'm somebody big on Twitter because 100 people liked my tweet.
I feel it, man.
And then I realized. And then maybe it was just having kids where you just realize like, nope, I'm not crap. Like I'm not anything.
Yeah.
But no, I did take it a lot more seriously at first.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just had too much free time in my life. Now it's just honestly like a source of comedy half the time, or just trying to get people offended by something.
Yeah, because I'm curious, like there was a time when I really cared about Twitter. I really don't care that much anymore. Like it's a great way for me to put out my stuff, but like I mess around, I say stupid stuff on there, like who cares? It's Twitter. But there was a time where like I thought my shit didn't stink. I thought Twitter was like, oh my gosh, like 8,000 people follow me. I'm the coolest on Twitter. Stuff like that, Yeah. But then you would get like the hate comments, and they would affect me more back then. Now it's like, whatever, I don't care. But you ever get to that point where it's like, yeah, people would come in like going against what you're saying, and they would be kind of in your face, and it would kind of affect you, or were you always able to kind of like roll that off?
I think I always had perspective on it.
Yeah.
Maybe if my life was just miserable, like I'd be trying to get again the dopamine hit every day of like these people like me or they don't like me. But at the end of like if something ever started bothering me, I'd just log off. Like I've got too much in real life to worry about what some egg on Twitter has to say about me.
That's a good way to view it. It's a good way to view it now. I mean, I view it that way now. But that was definitely something that was tough for me early on, because it's like I need everyone to like me. I need to only tweet the good stuff.
Yeah, I need the follows. That was it.
Yeah.
Like once I got like 1,000, I'm like, oh yeah, like I need to keep this momentum going. Mm-hmm. And now it's like we will joke in private conversations about like, if I post this, how many unfollows do you think I can get?
I will say my favorite thing now is because when you hit 10,000, this isn't me trying to like humble brag, but when you hit like 10,000, it doesn't show you the exact number that you have.
Right.
And I love that so much. It's so much better for my mental health because I'm like, I don't care if people like I can't see it now. Like I feel good now.
I totally get that because so I ran our business Instagram account, and like it was like my life goal to get to 10,000, because on Instagram you get like better features as a business once you hit 10K.
Yeah.
But then once we hit 10K, I couldn't see the numbers climbing anymore because it would just be 10.1, 10.2.
Mm-hmm.
And I just completely lost interest in it. I was like, I've achieved everything I need to achieve. Now it doesn't matter.
Yep. And I love it too, like when you hit like 10K. And I think also because I'm like verified or something like that, like it doesn't even notify me when someone follows me. It's just like,
Right.
oh yeah, people follow you. I'm like, all right, cool. So it's like, oh, I needed that. It's been great. But I've always been curious of other people who have, a decent amount of followers because like I think part of it was also I was like a 20-year-old kid when I first started doing this and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's like everything's personal and stuff and all that. And it's just now I get hate emails from people and hate DMs and stuff that I'm just like,
those are great.
Dude, some of the emails are hilarious. Like
was it you that posted them last week or something like that?
I posted 3 tamest DMs I got.
Yeah.
To put it like I think I posted 3. I've only got like 8 hate ones over the last 6 months or so. So it's not too bad. Like I'm not trying to say that like people are always upset at me. But I posted like the 3 tame ones where it's like you're stupid and nobody likes you. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. Like my wife would agree. Totally see it.
No disagreement here. We're on the same page.
And then that one dude sent me a whole long email about like Carson Wentz has been running for his life for his whole career. This man has been put through hell because of his offensive line. And if he had good receivers, he'd be playing like Brady. I'm like, all right. I mean, yeah, that's how you view it. I'm like, that's cool. And then I had someone from a Barstool fan who once got mad at me because I had a viral tweet about Portnoy once where it was like one of those like bar things. And it was like talent up or talent down here. And then like recognition and all that. And it had like 100,000 likes or something. So I eventually got to the Barstool fans, and I had a couple emails from those guys saying I'll never be anything compared to Portnoy and all that stuff.
They're a little diehard.
They're
Although I must admit, I do follow them on Instagram strictly for pizza reviews. I can't lie.
Yeah, good pizza is a good pizza,
Well, yeah, we travel a lot for work, so I need to know like where the good pizza is.
Yeah, for sure. A couple comments here. We got Robert, who's Metal Militia on Twitter. Brad Wells may have become unlikable, but I was there for the genesis of Stampede Blue when he was the lead editor. It was the gateway for me to introduce a lot of great followers and fans. I've heard that from people, from about Stampede Blue. My best friend growing up, actually the reason why I even got into kind of covering the Colts was my best friend growing up was a Colts fan, so I always followed the team. And when I got hired for Stampede Blue, he was like, dude, I grew up reading that. Like, you work there? I'm like, yeah. Matt Damley hired me up, but yeah, Stampede Blue, I think has done a lot of good things, and I don't know the whole Brad Wells stuff, so I don't know if he was always bad or if it just kind of became a thing, or I don't know.
No, like when he was writing content, when I started, I was reading a lot of his stuff. It was when he stopped writing, and in doing so stopped watching games a lot. Everything that he posted was a personal vendetta. It was like he didn't like Ryan Grigson, or he didn't like Jim Irsay or whoever it was. So it was just like everything offended him at some point. So then you could just get under his skin. But I have to say, I did steal something from Brad Wells. Anytime that someone would say something against Brad that it was supposed to be offensive or whatever, he would respond with a GIF of a robot, and the robot puts a tape in him, and it just says "your mother." And when he would do that, it would bother me because I'm like, it's the perfect reply. It's just like, I don't care, your mother. And so I have totally stolen that from him. That is my reply to anything stupid that you send to me.
Here's the best thing to do. And for people watching probably know I do this. And it's kind of maniacal that I do it, but I love it so much. There's 2 ways that I approach people being an asshole to me in the comments. Send that comment to a big group chat of Colts fans
Yeah, 100%.
And then mute the conversation or quote tweet it and just send it to
Oh,
all
yeah,
your
that's
people.
fun. That's
send
fun.
it to all your people and then just back off.
I mean, it's the greatest day in that guy's life, though, because he's got 300 followers and now he's got 45 people responding to his stupid tweet.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's more so for me. It's more so for me.
Yeah, just to watch, just to like send the dogs on him, basically.
Yeah, because you got the diehards,
which is 100%.
My boy Matt here is one of my diehards. I love Matt. He's like one of my favorite. I'm gonna have you on the show one of these weeks, Matt. But then I won't have many people commenting, so I don't know. You'll have to comment while you're on the show. But yeah, get people like Matt after him. It's great. I love it. Make me feel good.
Yeah, Jay is always good for that.
Jay is great because he'll pull the receipts on these guys.
Yeah, 100%. Grant is always good for a good like this is a stupid tweet. But if you can get Kyle to respond, that's the ultimate, because Kyle's like almost like the grandfather of Colts Twitter.
He scares the hell out of me, man.
He just brings his wisdom. I mean, he's literally a pastor, so he's just like dropping wisdom on all of us. So when he talks, we all just kind of like shut up and listen.
Oh, dude, he scares me every time I see like he's responding to one of my tweets. I'm like, oh, damn it, I said something stupid. And I'm like, oh no,
yeah,
he's got me.
Makes you rethink everything.
It does. Robert also said Nate Dunleavy's blog was great. I think I was there I don't know if I was there during his or whatever. I think I saw some of it, but it was probably dead by the time I came over to Colts.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that, but
yeah,
I mean, on Twitter, when I got involved, it was the Luck era. So
yeah,
although there was some prime content during the early Luck days.
Yeah, there was. Philippe says for people that struggle to actually watch the games, guys like Jeremey on Twitter are super important to our fandom. And that's what got me and kept me on Twitter. Well, that's nice, Philippe.
There you go.
I want to say me too, but I'm not the best to follow on game day. I'm very reactionary. It's kind of a bit. Yeah. It's kind of a bit though for me.
Yeah, now at this point it's mostly negative. And honest, like, people think I'm serious. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm old. I've got a family and a business. I don't care. I've said to like our close friends, I'm not sure I've ever cared less about the Colts than I do right now.
Yeah.
It's just like the most average team. And so during game day, I'll just like Wentz will throw a touchdown, a great pass, and all I'll do is give credit to the receiver or the offensive line just to piss someone off.
So I did kind of want to ask you, like you did mention that it's because you're family, you're older, it is harder to kind of get into like a football thing when you're a little bit older and stuff like that, because you just have so much more going on in your life. But did your fandom, I don't want to say like it fell off, but did it kind of change with the Andrew Luck retirement? When did you kind of feel like your fandom kind of falling a little bit? Because I know these last couple of years have been tough for Colts fans.
Yeah, for sure. It probably was subconsciously without even really thinking about it. My dad and I launched our own business about 5 years ago. So that really took life over. I had a 1-year-old at the time. So a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. But yeah, Luck. I mean, it was kind of like, 2012 made the playoffs, got blown out. 2013 made the playoffs, got 1 win. Mm-hmm. 2014 made the playoffs, 2 wins, blown out by the Patriots. And it was just kind of like, they're never going to get past Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And then after that, all the Luck injuries started. I hated the Grigson era. His drafting was so poor.
And you're a big draft guy, so it was painful for you.
Yeah, and of course, hindsight is the most wonderful thing as a nobody draft guy.
Yeah.
So his picks would be gone from the team within 2 years. They wouldn't even finish out the rookie contracts, and so it was like I would hate to bring up Kyle again, but Kyle's theme of never hope really started to kick in. It was like they hit their ceiling. They can't with this, with Grigson and with Pagano and this horrible offensive line and all this. And then I guess Luck felt the same way and said, peace, I'm out of here. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that probably was. I mean, I was really into last year. I'm in Canada. When COVID hit, like we were locked down. We weren't going anywhere here. So I followed the Rivers era, so to speak, pretty closely. And I've been following this year. I think I've watched every game. I just, I don't have time for the extra stats of, Taylor has X amount of yards gained after contact, which is more than blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I don't have time for that stuff anymore.
Yeah. And then the Grigson era drafting, bringing 36-year-old big names who did nothing, the Richardson trade. And he almost tried to eliminate the history of Colts, made it hard for sure. Yeah, I always say, like, I was more of someone who laughed at that era because I was a Washington fan. I had to laugh at everything. Like I had one happy year. I had one happy year of my life. It was 2012, and then it ended with a quarterback tearing his ACL in the playoffs. So that was my one happy year of football fandom. But my buddy was a Colts fan, so I always had to laugh at him during the Grigson era because I was like, "Oh, you guys brought in Andre Johnson, Trent Cole. I didn't know he was still around. Like all that. Oh, you guys traded a first for a running back. Like, what are you doing? Stuff like that, But yeah, I do know a lot of making fun of that era was a thing because it was rough.
And I think at that time it was like I was young and in love. It was like every move they made, I was like this could turn out like I didn't love the Richardson trade, but I was like he's, it was his second year. His first year he did pretty good. Like this could work out.
Yeah.
And like Andre Johnson, like, maybe he'll be good. And Philippe Dorsett, or however you pronounce his name, like, yeah, he might be good.
Yeah.
And it's just like after about 15 of those, you're like, all right, I'm done. Like,
yeah, it's tough.
Can't keep up.
Dude, Washington fan here. Like, I know how tough it is. You get to the point where it's just like, maybe we win a couple games this year.
Yeah, exactly.
At least you guys always had a good quarterback. And now it's kind of like, maybe you have a good quarterback.
We have an average quarterback.
Then again, I will say Carson Wentz, if you stack him up against every quarterback I watched from when I was 5 and got into football up until now with Washington football, he's probably the best one.
Yeah, like you could take about 10 games of RG3. We're probably better.
Yeah, and maybe a couple Kirk Cousins games, but that's probably it.
Yeah,
my life was miserable as a child, just for that.
And your best, so like Colts fans, and I'll include myself, are so fickle, and like they take everything so personal that like even the rookie year, it was like anytime RG3 did anything bad, it was like reassurance for Colts fans that like, yeah, we made the right move, we got the right guy. And so like it was almost like it was celebrated when he got hurt.
Oh, that's awful.
Unfortunately, your best season was like also Colts fans' best season because it proved them right for a few years.
Yeah, man, it was rough. So we do kind of have to talk a little Carson here because you know we've gone 43 minutes. We've gone 43 minutes without talking Carson. We got to talk a little Carson Wentz. When they made the trade, I think I remember your reaction, but how was your reaction to the Carson Wentz trade when it went down?
Oh, man, I hated it. Like, I hated everything about it. I mean, at the time, I wasn't even too excited about, like, the possibility of trading for Matt Stafford. Yeah. I just thought, like, this team isn't – I mean, every team's a good quarterback away from being good.
Yeah.
But I just didn't think this team was in a spot where bringing in a beat-up quarterback who just had a horrible year and giving up good draft capital for him. I mean –
that was my
first and the third is no joke. And like to this day, I keep having to tell people like I don't dislike Carson Wentz and I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I just hate what they gave up for him.
Me too.
Even if they make the playoffs this year, I still don't like the trade.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you couldn't have got him, 4 weeks later for a second round pick because nobody else was trading for Carson Wentz.
Yeah. I went on an Eagles podcast the day after the trade went down with Ben Solak, who's now big time all of a sudden. The kid's huge with the ringer and everything now, like great things with him. But I remember he was asking me and stuff about it and all that, and I was like, look, in a vacuum, Carson Wentz on the Colts, I'm cool with. Like, I think that can work.
Sure.
But my thing is, I think that the protection should have been like if Wentz is like an all-pro or something, make it a first-round pick. Or a Pro Bowl, or even like a Pro Bowler, even though the Eagles fans would have cheated that for us. Like, if it was awful, they would have voted him in. But I wanted it to be something more performance-related, or, stuff like that, rather than, oh, if he just plays this amount of snaps. And I was like, man, I was not excited about that. I like, that was the only thing. And as time goes on, it's easier to talk yourself into stuff. And now I'm at the point where it's like, well, at least if it's not like a top 15 pick, we can live with it.
Right.
But it's still like, and I feel like, and I know a lot of Colts fans disagree with me, but if he wasn't so volatile this year, even, I could live with it more. But he's just, he's just so volatile. He is.
Right.
And I just want to see, like, I don't even need to see him be great in every game, but like, we can't have games like that Titans game. Like, or just, like, where it just all goes to shit. And it's like, where did this come from? You were like the best run of your entire career the last couple games.
Right.
And then you were just like seeing ghosts and rattled the entire game. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
And it's just that. Yeah. That's what makes it tough for me personally.
And maybe the worst part is how good the stats look. Because I think he's at 17-3 right now.
17-3 with like 2,300 yards passing too. Like, pretty solid numbers.
Like, the stats look great. Like, if Luck had that stat line, we'd be like, he's in the MVP conversation. But when you actually watch the games, you're like his accuracy is so off right now. And I know you're a big footwork guy, and I don't know if that's the case, but like,
it's part of it.
There's guys wide open that he's either missing high or, he should be leading them into yards after the catch. And instead, this guy's trying to make like an acrobatic catch just to get a first down.
The best way I saw it described was he'll miss the layup, but he'll hit the contested three. That's pretty much what he's doing. Yeah, that's pretty much what he's doing.
Yeah, or maybe the alley-oop because he's just thrown it up to Pittman. Yeah. Now,
well, I will say the throw to Pittman last week. It's on my Twitter if you guys want to see that, but I think you guys all know what throw I'm talking about. The one in the red zone. One of the most ridiculous throws I've seen from him this year.
Yeah,
just absurd throw. The one to T.Y. Hilton, obviously against the Texans, was absurd. He has a couple of those a game, and then he has a couple where it's like, how did you miss that slant? Or how did you miss that out route? And it's like, please stop being so volatile. Just be consistently decent or something. Like, just stop. Like, it's annoying. It's frustrating.
And in a sense, he's almost not the anti Phillip Rivers, but like Rivers could hit those, those crossers or that, that out. And it would be accurate and it would give the guy an opportunity, but he wasn't hitting deep balls. So it's like, which poison do you want to pick? Right. So, I mean, his interception luck right now on deep balls is unbelievable. But yeah, he does have like that. The throw to Hilton was like Luck-esque in terms of the accuracy.
Yeah.
The TD to Pittman, when he let go, I said, that's an interception. Like, there's no way that's not an interception. And then he threaded it right through and looked great. But there's just, the highs are so high, but the lows, I think I said this earlier, like the lows are like rookie level. Like missing, pre-snap reads or not seeing where the pressure's coming from, or like missing wide open guys, making them dive for a ball that they should be taking off down the field.
Yeah. I don't know if I would go with this comparison here, but I get what you're saying with here. Like the Eric Ebron quarterback. I think I don't know. Eric Ebron was a Pro Bowler. I don't know.
When's this the Ebron of quarterbacks? Man, I don't have a good taste in my mouth from Eric Ebron, I'll be honest. So
most people don't. It was a little shaky how the end of that went down.
Like, you will always do well, it seems, being a tight end on the Colts. It doesn't matter who you are, how tall you are. They just scheme tight ends open in the red zone or offensive linemen. So
that was such a alley-oop dunk by like that was like just a posterizing dunk by Wright, just right in the face of everyone who doubted him the week before.
100%.
That was all what that was for.
I was watching with my wife at the time, and I'm so excited. I'm like, look at it. Look how he's trying to. Look how he caught it. He went down on his knees, and oh, what a brilliant. And my wife's like, I don't care. Like, it's a fat guy catching a touchdown. Who cares?
Yeah.
But I'm like, you see, you're not on Twitter. You don't understand. Everyone's talking crap about this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we kind of get to the end here, and also we'll go through some of your guys' comments here because you guys are throwing a ton in here, and I'm trying to keep up, but you guys are doing great. Frank Reich. There's been a lot of comments, a lot of pushback from it on some people. There was, I was pushing back on it like last week about the hashtag Frank Reich, and somebody told me it was trending last year at some point too. I think you and I are in pretty good agreement that Frank Reich's not an issue. But what are your overall thoughts on Frank Reich as a coach and play caller?
Probably first, and maybe you guys mentioned this last week. I hate his contract extension.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I just thought, like, you're gambling so much on this quarterback. Why don't you? And you say they're tied to the hip, so do it.
Yeah.
If Wentz is out, this guy's out. He's betting his future on it. So I kind of feel like he got a free pass there in just extending him 4 or 5 years. But as a play caller, I think he's a top 10 play caller in the league. He never has elite talent. Pittman's great and Taylor's obviously great. Hines is great, but the way he schemes guys open and, works around flaws. Early on, they had, horrible offensive line troubles, but I just feel like he so quickly solved that to the point that we're not even talking about Eric Fisher. We're just like, yeah, he's been fine. It's not a problem.
Yeah, he gets run over a couple times a game, but he's fine. Stuff like that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's a great play caller. He's tripped up every now and then. And, after a bad game, I'll be like, you know what, I'm kind of done with him. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get a better coach than him to replace him. I love how aggressive his play calling is in terms of, going for it on fourth down. I wish, and I mentioned this to you guys, that I wish he would have gone for 2 to end the Titans game. I know he didn't have a play in his back pocket, but I just think you've been so aggressive all season up to that point, and what a statement it would have been to take out the division rival because you decided to go for 2.
Oh, dude!
And of course, in hindsight,
I'm so psycho.
In hindsight, they lost, so of course I can say that. But had they won in overtime, I'd be keeping my mouth shut, of course. So
yeah, and I will.
But
yeah, I was gonna say I will throw something really cool out there. Is sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you there, but there's a guy on Twitter, Honest NFL Takes, I think is his name. He used to work with the Eagles. It's very obvious he used to work with the Eagles. He says former scout or something with an organization, then all he tweets about is the Eagles. So he definitely worked with the Eagles.
Right.
But he told me on Twitter, you guys can actually see the conversation, it was right there, but that Frank Reich is one of the best in the league when it comes to scouting opponents and knowing how to attack opponents. And he said that 2017 year going against any Wade Phillips type defense, it was his game plan, what he was drawing up. Remember, he didn't call the plays for the 2017 Eagles team.
Right.
But it was his game plan that he drew up against Wade Phillips defenses, and they were the best offense in football. So it definitely worked.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I love Reich. And yes, the 2-point call, I really wish he would have done it, but I love how psychotic he is. I just he just goes for every analytic go situation, he's going. It doesn't matter the situation.
Right.
I'm all for it. I think he does so many good things. I wrote about it earlier this week, but he's had one of the most diverse run games in the NFL. I've had people from other teams ask me oh, are the Colts more zone? Are they power run? I'm like, both.
Yes.
Zone.
The
power,
answer is yes.
Duo, wham, insides. They just do it all. It does all of it. And then the passing concepts, I think, they're besides Pittman Jr. this year, he's the first one, I think, where it's he'd be legit, I think, on most teams. He's a freak. He's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's the first one who I'd say though doesn't need Frank Reich to get them open. Maybe T.Y. Hilton in the a couple years ago, but besides Zach Pascal, is he getting as open as he is for other teams?
Pascal Doolin, like
Yeah.
these guys are fringe
Chester
NFL
Rogers
players.
doesn't really play for,
Right.
Ryan Grant was out of the league after that 1 year. So, stuff like that. Dontrell Inman jumped around the league after having 500 yards with the Colts that year.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think he's a great coach, great play caller. And every time I see the Fire Reich stuff, I don't get it. I really don't. Maybe you guys are spoiled. I don't know.
100%. Yeah. I mean, there's still people that wanted Chuck Pagano to stay.
Yeah.
That was a legitimate thing for a long time. And it was like he was the worst football coach in the league, probably. But, you have these emotional attachments to people or plays or, whatever. You had a bad day and Reich made the wrong call that day. So now all of a sudden you hate the guy.
Yeah. So we're going to go through some comments here before we end it. But, man, I appreciate you sticking around for an hour here, Jeremy. You got nothing else going on? You got to just chill with all of us?
I got an empty house right now, man. It's just like it's quiet in here. It's kind of creepy. So
I'll let you know if I see anything
be
walking around back there, like any shadows or anything.
Yeah. I'm actually just waiting for my wife to come down those stairs and scare the crap out of me. But
I'll tell you, man, I was on a show with this one guy once, and my light behind me for my kitchen, sometimes if we flicker it on, it won't turn on like at all or whatever. Like you'll have to just keep flickering it. And then it either like won't come on or like later it'll come on. So I'm doing this whole podcast and I'm just talking with this guy. And then all of a sudden my light flashes on behind me. And the dude's like scared shitless. And he was like, "Is your wife home?" Or like, "She did that?" I'm like, "Nah, she's out. Why? What's going on?" He was like, he thought like some ghost was behind me or something.
It's just a ghost. No big deal.
Oh yeah, that's just the ghost. Like he's cool. Like, he gets a snack every now and then. Like he's cool.
Yeah.
Russ is an okay guy. Asked why tie Reich's leash to Wentz? Hasn't he proved that he can make quarterbacks work with even a small amount of time? So that's not the. I understand keeping Reich past Wentz too. Like I get it, but the reason why the Colts traded a first and third and are paying this much money to Wentz is because of Frank Reich. I mean, look at every Chris Ballard interview after that trade. He's not sold on Carson Wentz. Like he wasn't. He was very much distancing himself from that. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's Frank's guy most times." So when we talk about tying them together, it's because this trade happens because of Frank Reich. So if it crashes and burns, that's Frank Reich. He's and it's kind of like I know Chris Ballard's not really like this, but like you kind of got to look out for your own skin and be like, "Look, I traded for this guy, but it's who my coach wanted." It's not not who I wanted. So I don't know. That's where I kind of come. That's why I didn't like the extension for Frank Reich either. Even though I love Frank Reich, I didn't love that extension.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you fire him if Wentz doesn't work out, but maybe it has an effect on his contract negotiations afterwards, right? Maybe it's less money, or maybe there's more, provisions in his contract or whatever. But it's rare that a coach puts himself on the line for a trade, especially for a potential franchise quarterback. So for a GM to say, "Okay, like I'll do it," he also has to say, "But this is on you," right? Like I'm not getting fired because of your decision. So
yeah,
and
I agree.
Reich probably would have survived even if Wentz didn't work out. Hopefully they would have kept their first round pick in that situation, but it is what it is.
I mean, heck, if they make the playoffs with it this year, which they could, I mean, I know I've been very down on it, but like they realistically just got to win like the easy games, and then they got to steal like one or two down the stretch, and they can. I mean, again, that would be what, like 4 years that Reich, or 3 out of 4 years with 3 different quarterbacks making the playoffs for Reich. Like that'd be insane.
Right.
But yeah, it's just I agree. I don't think they should have been. I think they should have been tied together, or at least somewhat tied. Reich is an issue, but he sometimes gets too fancy or tries his tendency breakers at just the wrong time or flow of the game. It's been better, but he always seems to struggle with the first couple of weeks. I get that. He's very tendency breaker. And there are definitely like there are times in the red zone, I think, where that really hits him, where he's like he throws 4 times and it's like, dude, like you got to get a run in there. And then the next time he'll run 4 times. And it's like, I get the tendency breakers, but you got to chill.
Or they just like I feel like I say it every time they're inside the 5. It's just like, don't get cute, and he does way too often inside the 5. Like you've got JT, you run that ball, and you get within 2 yards, and then you can make your play, right? You don't need to double reverse, or whatever. And I am notoriously a hater of his end arounds to wide receivers. They never work out.
Yeah.
So. We're certainly not saying Wright's perfect, but
they work out with Pittman
to the rest of the league.
They work out with Pittman because he's a psycho.
Everything works out with Pittman if we haven't noticed.
That's true.
Like, we call them 50-50 balls. Like, Wentz is throwing up like 20-80 balls. Yeah. And Pittman is just a freak that just mosses everybody or gets an interference call. Like, half those interference calls are like 5 yards short. Of Pittman. He just knows exactly how to attack the cornerback to get that call.
I honestly would go as far as to say, if you ever see one-on-one coverage, just throw it up there. Like that should be the whole game plan. Nothing else.
It seems to be the case in the league right now. Like, driving for a field goal with 20 seconds left in the game now is not impossible, because you just throw a bomb and you just hope for that defensive pass interference. All of a sudden you're at the 30-yard line. So
yeah,
it's frustrating. I see a lot of people say they think it should be a 15-yard penalty, but then defenders are going to use it to their advantage to start ripping guys down to avoid catches. So it's a lose-lose.
Yep. In short, though, Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver 1, forever. He's great.
Yeah, like, it's his sophomore year. I keep forgetting that. Like, and Wentz is not, making stars out here, right? Like, Pittman is just legitimately that good.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I thought he was going to be good. I didn't think this good. Like, give me Frank embracing modern analytics in his quarterback-friendly system over most coaches. Yeah, completely agree.
100%. No disagreement there.
Nope. I feel like most people who want Frank Wright gone are the same people who wanted Pagano gone, because they're people with zero patience and react insanely after each loss. Yeah. Oh, and I
mean, that's just Twitter summarized, right? It's just, that's what we do. We have instant reactions.
Yeah. And then they also say, I see for the culture guys calling for Wright's head weekly, and they wanted Pagano gone. Yeah. I'm not going to comment on that.
Don't comment.
This is on Twitter, so I'm not going to comment on the For the Culture guys. I like Jason, though. I think for the most part, he's really good. I mean, he has a legit source. He's good with the source, and I think he knows ball
absolutely
at a good level. So, there's things we disagree, though, with when it comes to like the coaches and stuff. So,
but I'm good with that. I'm good with disagreeing with guys.
Yeah, it's fine to disagree. Jason knows. Jason and I talk all the time. Is this the week Rodgers gets a chance at corner? Hope so. Looks like Xavier Rhodes might be out this week, though, so Isaiah Rodgers should be in line to start. I'm scared. So I want my perfect world. I want TJ Carey to move to safety over Sendejo. Tomorrow on the Horseshoe Huddle channel, me and Hag are posting our Into the DB film room, and it's basically a roast fest of Andrew Sendejo of this past game. Like, he was terrible, just flat out atrocious. Terrible safety. Should not play football for the Colts. That's basically what that whole episode is. My dream scenario is put TJ Carey at free safety over him. Send him off the team or anything, whatever. And then start Rodgers, because I think Rodgers has been perfectly fine this year. But I'm scared they're going to start Sendejo and start TJ Carey at corner.
Now, they were trying Carey out at safety at the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah.
That's just not a out of the blue comment. So
he played safety a little bit for the Raiders too a couple years ago when they were in a pinch.
Right. I just can't imagine there aren't better safety options anywhere on earth. Like practice squad guys. Like, I'm gonna play this Sunday. In case anyone was wondering, I'm just going to play safety, because all I have to do is not spin around in a circle, and I'm improving on what they were doing before. So he is legitimately awful, and I don't pretend to understand safety play. It can be a very confusing position. Half the time you're a linebacker, half the time you're, covering over the top or something like that. So, but when I watch him, I just know that's not what you're supposed to be doing at that position. I don't know much, but I do know that's not right. And anytime it's him and Rhodes on the same side, it's just a recipe for absolute disaster. So
Yeah.
I hope Rodgers gets a shot. He seems to be able to make plays on the ball, which Rhodes has no ability to do whatsoever.
Yep.
So yeah, he's going to get burned. I mean, what is he, a 6th rounder, something like that? He's not supposed to be a starting.
He's playing better than a 6th round corner should, though. I will give him
for
that.
sure.
He's been good.
Yeah. But if he can cause a turnover every other game or every third game, that's an improvement to me. Because I mean, we all know Rhodes is done. That's not even a controversial take at this point. I'm not even sure he's hurt so much as they just need an excuse to get him out of there. So
yeah, he's good.
I hope.
Yeah, I want to see more of Rodgers down the stretch. One thing I've always had against the defensive staff, especially in 2019, down the stretch of 2019, they were still playing these 28, 29, 30-year-old guys when playoffs were in the rearview mirror since week 14 of that year. And it's why for the last three or four games are you not playing the young guys? So I'm scared that they'll just keep playing Rhodes no matter what. And it's you've got to get Rodgers the reps because he can play. He's got to see the field.
I feel like they might this year just because Rhodes is a free agent and there's no chance they're bringing him back next year. So
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, the fear is that they're 1.5 games out of a playoff spot. So they just, keep rolling with what they have and nobody develops. We don't even get to see what the backup quarterback can do. I mean, it's just a tragedy.
Sam Ellinger.
I mean, we need at least 4 games of them. At least 4 games of them. Maybe 5.
We'll see. We're draft guys. We want to see the first round pick, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Aaron asks, do we see Irsay encouraging Ballard to change his offseason approach if this season flops? I hope. I don't know.
I feel like Irsay's kind of minding his own business these days. It seems like it, which is good for him. I mean, he seems to be doing really well, which just not football related, but that's just encouraging to see him doing well.
Yeah.
I hope that Ballard can maybe, eat a little humble pie and realize that he does not have the ability to scout cornerbacks, and he's really struggling finding edge talent. I mean, I know he's got 2 high picks right now, so we'll wait and see how those are going. But it kind of just seems like these cornerback moves, free agency or in the draft, just aren't working out.
Yeah.
And maybe that is the scheme. I don't know. Again, that's one of those things. I'll plead the fifth. I have no idea if it's the scheme or if it's just not being able to scout the position. But I hope he will, enlist him and he can maybe take over that position for him a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. I think they need a young alpha corner, and I think Rock, and my tweet was misinterpreted the other day, which is I get it. I wasn't saying they need a Jalen Ramsey, although a Jalen Ramsey would be awesome. Don't get me wrong, bring me a Jalen Ramsey. But by alpha corner, I just mean a guy who's going to punch a wide receiver 1 in the mouth and make it a hard day for him. Yeah. And I think Rock and Rodgers, I'm hopeful for. Rock, I think right now is a low to mid cornerback 2. Solid. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be awful. He's not getting many penalties this year. I think he's just been fine. He's not that guy, though, I don't think he's that guy.
No, you can't leave him on an island.
No. And Rhodes isn't that guy. Rodgers has the ability, but probably he's never going to get there. And he's small too. He's 5'8", 170 or 180 or whatever he is. They need that guy, that guy who's going to punch someone in the mouth. And it doesn't even need to be Jalen Ramsey. It can be like a Jalen Johnson, AJ Terrell, Shaquille Griffin for Jacksonville. Just a guy like that, an athletic guy who will punch someone in the mouth. And they don't have that. I want him to be a young draft guy, but I just don't know if if they're going to be able to draft a guy who can just step in right away and be that,
No, I mean, if we're hoping for a second round cornerback,
Yeah.
mid second round to step in as a rookie or sophomore and do anything, especially in this scheme, it's just not going to happen. They definitely need to spend in free agency at cornerback, whether he will or not. Who knows? History says no, but we'll all get excited about it until it doesn't happen. So
Yeah, exactly. Talking end arounds, they always use Pascal when they could use Campbell or Hines. They do use Hines a little bit, but those are more jet sweeps than end arounds. And jet sweeps, very different stance on jet sweeps than end arounds. Jet sweeps are dope. They're great. This past game, I love Frank Reich set it up all game with the jet sweep. Every single run to Jonathan Taylor, it was a jet sweep receiver or Nyheim Hines on a jet sweep fake, whatever. Mm-hmm. Did nothing until the third quarter with it, and then hands it to Hines in the third quarter for a 30-yard gain up the sideline.
Right.
Just a genius thing. But yeah, I don't know why you would ever do an end around to Pascal. I kind of get Doolin, but like he doesn't really have he's not going to make someone miss, you know?
No, and I don't know if they have a tell or what it is, but it seems constant that they've got one wide receiver blocking and two defenders just waiting for that guy on the end around. So he gets buried for 5 yards. And like, yeah, you can try it with a Hines and see if he can, juke that guy out of his shoes. But
Hines got stuffed early in the game last week on a wide receiver reverse.
Yeah.
For like a 4-yard. Yeah. I mean, it was a 4-yard gain because it's Hines, but
Yeah. When the play's developing 5-6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, it's just, you might break one, but odds say you're probably going to be second and long after this play. So
yeah,
I just think they have such a great run. I wish they would actually have both running backs on the field more, just because the lack of playmakers that they do have on the team. But yeah, just again, it's a case of getting too cute. Just use your strengths to screw the end arounds. Just give up. It's not going to work. So, I mean, and you know what? It's going to work. They're going to have 2 touchdowns this Sunday on wide receiver end arounds while I'm in the building, and I won't hear the end of it. So.
I will put a clip of this on Twitter if that happens.
There you go.
Ashton Doolin breaks one for like a 60-yard run. I will 100% put this on Twitter because that'd be awesome.
There you go.
But I mean, you're going to be paying $100 million a year for offensive linemen these next couple of years, so you might as well just run it right behind those guys.
I mean, yeah, all of the money is gone. So
yeah, all the money's gone. Just a couple more here, and we'll end it off. But what are you seeing in Rodgers that makes you think he can surpass Rhodes? It's not that I think he can surpass Rhodes. I think he has surpassed Rhodes.
Yeah, it's over.
He can move.
It's over.
He can move. Everything's about, like, Robert says it well here. If you can't cover, you can't play. And this is about safeties, but it's like Rhodes can't cover right now. Like, he'll have a couple good clips a game where it's like, that's the guy who used to be a dog, who used to be a number one corner, where he'll punch a receiver in the mouth and stuff him at the line, or he'll pinch them to the sideline. It's like, okay, there's the Xavier Rhodes that we knew. But, like, he just can't run with these guys. There was, I think the best example, and if I could right now, I'd just show them right back to back, is Elijah Moore against off coverage against Xavier Rhodes last week. Beat him for like a 30-yard gain over the middle. Rhodes just couldn't sync with him at all, couldn't move with him. Later in the game, given this were a little bit different situations, but Isaiah Rodgers off man coverage against Elijah Moore, and Moore hits like a 10-yard out on him, but Rodgers is tackling him as he catches it. Like, he's all over him.
Right.
And it's like, Rodgers can move with these guys. Now, will he get beat every now and then because of bad footwork or something? Yes, like he will. But Rhodes just can't move with these guys anymore. Like, it's just, and it's not like he's even a great tackler. Like, I don't think Rodgers has missed a tackle and run defense this year. He has the one miss against the Dolphins in his first start, but besides that, Rodgers has been a really strong tackler where Rhodes kind of attacks high and stuff like that. So it's like, it's not even like a physicality or a size thing. It's just Rodgers does pretty much everything better. And he has a pick this year that was pretty awesome. Probably the second best play from a Colts defensive back this year. Like, I don't know. I don't see anything that would make me want to start Rhodes over Rodgers going forward.
No, and to me, and I'm not watching all 22 afterwards or anything like that, but this season specifically, their ball awareness is just like night and day. I feel like when Rhodes does stick with a cornerback on the outside, he rarely is turning around to see where that ball is. He's just praying that he can knock the ball out. Yeah. Whereas, like on screens, especially, like Rodgers is in that play. He knows where the ball's going and he's attacking. He's just, at this point, he's just younger and healthier, so he's just going to move better. But yeah, I mean, give me the potential rather than knowing it's going to fail, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, if you need a guy who's kind of iffy with his ball skills and stuff and gets beat every now and then, Rock's fine for that. Like, Rock can do that. But he'll also make a couple nice plays where Rhodes just won't make a couple nice plays anymore. It's just not there.
Yeah. I think we got literally the best case scenario out of 2020 Rhodes.
Yeah.
To the point that it just created unreasonable expectation. I mean, there's a reason why this guy, what did he get paid? $3 million to come back?
Like, yeah, nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted him around the league.
The league knew that's the best that you're ever going to get out of this guy. He's coming back to earth in a big way. So
I heard someone's dog. Yo, Pudge. I
was going to say, I don't have a dog, so it's a ghost. So
Pudge, come here. Come here. You gotta sit. People, hey, no, don't walk away from me. Come here. No, dude. Come here. He's almost here. Come here. Why are you like this? Come here. Oh. All right, here we go. That took way too long.
He's an embarrassed Colts fan. That's all.
There we go. He's got a coat because it's a little cold.
Star of the show right there.
Yeah, he's usually a little more fluffy, so it's not as good, but they kept his face cute this time at least.
There you go. I'm a like avid dog lover, so I can never have one because of how much we travel because of my job. So I just love other people's dogs instead.
Yeah, no, I bet that's tough. I mean, it's tough just when we go, like now I work more from home because Sports Illustrated pays better than any other writing job I've had. But, you know, whenever I have to go to work, my wife's at work, like it's tough leaving a dog at home all day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, one more for Robert and then we'll call it a night here. But for the point of Rhodes, there's even times where he is confused about what to do. I saw him run man coverage when the rest of the defense was in zone on one of your all 22s. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, his safeties don't know what they're doing either. So he probably sees them just, you know, running in circles and he just has no clue what he's supposed to do at this point. And again, like you said, he panics. And when you know the safety's not where they're supposed to be, I can't blame him.
In short,
he really is. He's older. He's allegedly hurt. He doesn't have any pass rush to speak of. His safeties are like guys that work at a coffee shop that just happen to be playing in the NFL right now. So
yeah. In short, outside of Kenny, Rock, and Rodgers, the secondary is not good right now. It's a disaster. So that's a great way to end the show. That's the most positive note we end on.
We're just providing hope for everyone.
Look, I was saying this with Hag earlier when we were recording the Into the DB film room, but like this has to be a good get right game for the defense. Like I know you still have Sendejo going back there. Hopefully not, but he probably will. But you're going against a quarterback who can't read zone coverage right now, who's I think second or third in the NFL in interceptions, who has one of the most vanilla and basic offensive schemes. Like you need to bounce back this week.
Yeah. And I watched him a little bit last week, just knowing that he was coming to town, and he was missing wide open receivers. I mean, like nobody within 5-10 yards and throwing it over their head. So if ever, of course, we thought this about last week and that didn't go so great too, but Josh Johnson's now got a 4-year extension worth $30 million a year, but
love me some Josh Johnson though.
I do. I said as soon as he came in, he was my Madden guy forever. I would do like the full draft and I would just go no quarterback because I would just take Josh Johnson at the very end. But yeah, I've said this, you know, we have what's called the chat meet group, which we will all be in Indy this Sunday. And I said, you know what? We either get to see a blowout in person or the end of the Colts organization, because heads will roll. The defensive coordinator's fired before they even get to the locker room. So no, this will be a good game. I mean, we picked the right game to go to. JT's going to go for a good 200. Wentz will be Wentz.
Yep.
Which, depending on who you are, that can be a great thing or a horrible thing. But I feel like this is a 3 turnover pick 6. Darius doing Darius things. Rodgers is clearly getting an interception. So,
oh, dude,
it'll be a good game.
Interceptions for Rodgers. I just want a rock interception. I want to get a rock interception in there.
Does he? He doesn't even have one this year, does he?
No, I don't. No, I thought he had one. I don't know. Maybe not.
Did he?
He might not. I don't know.
Out, so apparently.
I don't know. I might I don't remember breaking it down on the Hicks and Hag show, so I'm pretty sure it would have been just like a tip ball or something if he did.
Yeah, maybe.
It was we've only broken down 2 interceptions this year. It was Rodgers and Kenny's. That's it, because all the other ones have been like tip balls.
Tip balls everywhere.
I know. But, we talk bad about this defense. Number 1 in DVOA and run defense. Number 11 overall in defense, I think, or number 12 overall. And number 1 in takeaways. So, I mean, there's some good things with this defense.
Yeah. I mean, we knock them because that's what we do on Twitter. But, they're fine. This could be a playoff team. If they make the playoffs, Wentz is going to be a top 10 MVP guy, assuming he doesn't throw 15 interceptions. JT's going to win the rushing title. It's going to happen.
Pittman's going to hit 1,000
Pittman's
yards.
a stud.
Yeah,
Pittman is a legitimate wide receiver 1, which is so good going into an offseason, not having to try and find a 32-year-old wide receiver 1.
I love it so much. The best thing about this year was Michael Pittman Jr. Best thing.
Yeah, 100%. This is a great, the offensive line's getting healthy right now. Last week, the defense looked awful, but what were they up 42-10 in the third quarter? Yeah. I'm taking the day off at 42-10. I don't even care. I think that the highest win percentage that they got to was 0.5%. The game was over.
Yeah.
And everyone was basically tapped out.
Yeah.
Pass rush is a little concerning, but Pay is on game 5, 6.
Mm-hmm. And we got Taylor Stallworth coming alive. Taylor Stallworth.
MVP, baby.
MVP.
He looks so good. Out of nowhere. I think
what the hell was
the breakout player of the year, and I think he had 2 solo tackles in the season going into that game.
Dude, what the hell was that? That was awesome. It was 4 quarterback hits and 2 sacks, and it was only 20 snaps.
That is the value of Buckner right there. You line up beside Buckner, and you are going to hit the quarterback at least 3 times.
Yep. Oh, one thing we wanted to also talk about here is we were the 2 guys who before the year, when the Colts signed him, we were convinced he was really good, and nobody else was on until the year started. But Chris Reed season has been strong for us this year. Chris Reed, man, he's been solid.
It's my best take since I've been on Twitter. but honestly, I didn't know much about him, and they signed him in the middle of the offseason. So there's nothing else going on. It's during COVID. So I'm going to watch this guy's games. And I feel like the first couple of games of 2020, he looked pretty rough.
Yeah.
But then after that, I was that's a starting guard in the
Absolutely.
NFL. Offensive line is there's not an abundance of talent of offensive linemen in the NFL. So the day they signed him, I was Glowinski's out. There's no way he finishes the season with Reed on the bench, and we've been right. So there we go.
Yeah, dude.
They need to re-sign him yesterday.
Oh my gosh, yeah, because it's not gonna be much. I bet it'd be $3 to $4 million a year. He's 30, so it's not like he's super young.
Glowinski's done, right? This is his last year of his contract.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll be back. I mean, maybe if it's cheap, but I don't think he'll be back. But yeah, man, Chris Reed. I remember I I was at work when they signed him, and I was like, who the hell is Chris Reed? And then I looked at his stats, and I was like, oh, he started 15 games last year, so like I can actually watch film on him. That's cool. And I turned on the film, and I saw his Pro Football Focus grade was like 40, like it was awful. And I was like, okay, like he's probably not going to be good. And yeah, he got beat up by Greg Jarrett a couple times. Like that was a rough game for him. But like besides that, like I thought he looked like he has a really good run blocker. I was pumped about his run blocking. And then pass block, I post it every week now. It feels like that he's so good with using his tiny arms to kill bull rushes by snatching them and knocking the guy to the ground by taking their arms out from him. Like he's just a really smart guy. Got to meet him and talk to him a little bit this offseason too. Just a really good player. Yeah, dude, I'm excited for him. I'm glad that he's been doing so good. I think he was on a JMV show or Matt Taylor's show the other day too. Like I just love how much he's getting. And I do hope they extend him because he's been, I think, on 5 different teams now in like 5 years. Like it'd be nice for him to get like one steady place to be for a couple of years.
Yeah, and a decent paycheck.
Yeah,
I feel like so Philippe, before we went on, he said, "Can I ask Jeremy if he remembers comparing LaRaven Clark to a hot girl that isn't really smart?" And if that comparison ended up holding true. So I believe this was in the Draft Indie or whatever we were called at the time, like instant analysis on the draft. And because I was not a LaRaven Clark fan. He was athletic. He, had a great build, super long arms, huge hands. And that was my comparison, was like, he looks the part, but she's just not smart. Like she just doesn't have it. And I feel like Chris Reed might be like the complete opposite. Like you look at him and you're like, I don't know, like kind of has small arms, like hand size isn't great, but like he's just smart. He gets it. And like at the end of the day, the girl's looks are going to fade, but when she's smart, like that's forever. So
yeah, he's going to go to the pop punk concerts with you. He'll go to the pop punk concerts.
That's right.
That's your guy right there. So
like LaRaven Clark is going to have to get like injections when he's 60 because the looks start fading. Then they've got those like puffed up lips and like they can't make facial expressions. Whereas like you're going to be hanging out with Chris Reed when he's 65 doing Sudokus and stuff like that. So
absolutely. I could do that now. I'm going to hit him up. We'll hang out doing Sudoku.
There you go.
That's how you do it.
I'm bringing him with me to Florida, so he and I are going to hang out for a little while.
There you go. She'll go to the last one. She'll go to Baby Metal concerts with you. Yes, Baby Metal. Don't look that up, people. Well, Jeremy, man, I appreciate you jumping on. We went pretty long here, but we got a lot of comments. People obviously wanted to tune in to see what you say. And I don't know, this is the first time you guys have seen Jeremy's face. I mean, might be.
So I did a few of the Draft Indie like instant reaction videos during drafts a couple years ago. But other than that, yeah, man, I hide. There's a reason why I don't have my face as my profile picture. Nobody needs to see me.
No, I get it.
Unless they're at the game on Sunday, we're going to find some like good tailgating to hit up before the game. And yeah, it'll be a good time.
Yeah, guys, if you're going to the game this week, definitely find Jeremy, have some fun, root for the Colts, and then root for Ashton Doolin on those wide receiver reverses. That's what we're rooting for.
There you go. If I can get across the border, that's the like huge asterisk right now. So in 9 hours, we will find out if America will allow this Canadian into your country.
Everyone turn on the tweet notifications. We'll see a big rant about why America sucks if he's not able to get in.
100%. And even if I get in, I will have a huge rant about why America sucks. So either way, stay tuned. But if I don't make it, we will be doing a huge giveaway for the ticket to sit beside Kyle and Grant at the game because there's going to be an empty seat.
All right. Awesome. You guys turn on those tweet notifications and tune in next week for another episode of Fancast. I believe my next guest next week, I want to look at the date just so I make sure here. Yeah, I believe next week I'm going to have the great Josh Wilson on from the Stampede Blue days. The two former faces of Stampede Blue are going to be on here to talk some Colts ball and probably be the biggest assholes you've ever met. So definitely tune into that next week, guys. And Jeremy, again, I appreciate you for jumping on, man.
Awesome. It was a lot of fun, dude.